Well folks, we are literally 5 minutes away from winding all the rods in here on Chew after a fantastic day. First time I've ever been here and Ben's proper looked after us. But you guys, what you have to do is watch through this entire video and tell us in the comment section below how many fish we have caught today. Because if they do that, Ben, what do they win?
Oh, they win prizes. So you win loads of goodies, not just these goodies here, from our new Predator range. And that is everything you need to get you out predator fishing on the bank. And it's all stuff which we have tried and tested and is absolutely perfect to get a few more extra pike on the bank. So watch, count the pike, get in the comments, say how many it is, and be lucky. Merry Christmas.
Have a Merry Christmas.
So this is just clipped out, grab the rod, and it's exactly where I had a trout run a minute ago. So the odds are, oh, this, yeah, that's looking very trouty. It's peeling off. I've got to hit it no matter what anyway, because I don't want to get a deep hooked fish. So let's see. Well, it's a fish, which is always nice, because on a very cold, frosty morning, a fish is a fish. But if it comes off any second now, it was probably a trout, and it was probably not hooked properly. And if it doesn't, it might be a small pike. Very hard to tell early on. My hunch is a trout.
Has one got a fish?
Yes, one has got a fish at the moment, from where one had a trout bite earlier. So my hunch is it is. I don't know.
I was going to say, don't say that's a trout. That's a bend in the rod for a trout, isn't it?
Yeah, it doesn't only produce monster pike this venue, it produces monster trout as well. Just got to watch my other rod.
Yeah, you should be fine.
Try and get up on the water if I can.
Pike.
Yeah.
Good lad. Good lad. Right species and a bite.
Yeah.
Oh.
Now I've got it in close. I've just changed the drag down a little bit because I've got it away from my other rod. And the last thing I want is it to surge away. Might only be a baby one, but it's the start.
Doesn't matter, mate.
Of.
Because up until now it was just a shoot, and now, once it goes in the net, now it's a fishing shoot. Well done.
A Chew Valley miniature giant. Perfect.
It will look big on you.
Hey, it looks small on you. Perfect, nice. So what I do is I just rest the rod down there. I'll just unclip the trace while you're holding it, and then we can move everything nice and tidily. Chew Valley Reservoir.
Beautiful. Welcome to Chew Valley. One of the most famous reservoirs in the country. Produced probably the most fish over 30 pounds, and I can relate to.
Yeah.
And what a beautiful morning, and what a cracking morning, because you've already had a bite.
Lovely, yeah, perfect.
What's the plan for the day?
Plan for today is stick it out here. There's loads of bait fish in front of us.
Yeah.
And add a couple of clip outs, which we think were trout, but you don't know for
Possibly.
sure. And now we've got a pike as well. So fish are willing to feed.
Right.
That's the most important thing. They're willing to feed, and we've got baits in the water, and we're on the most prolific trout, pike and trout reservoir in the whole country.
Yeah, and we'll cover baits, location, rigs, everything you need to know throughout the day. And I'm going to learn an awful lot as well, because I'm a bit of a dabbler when it comes to pike, certainly dead bait fishing for pike. So I'm looking forward to it, mate. Well done.
By the end of the day, anyone who came here hopefully be able to catch pike, handle them safely, get them back, and away you go. And speaking of that, we get this one back as quick as we can, and away we go.
Beautiful.
Well done. Markings on that one there.
Stunning, isn't it?
Beautiful, isn't it? Look at that down there.
Well, mate, rods are out, sun's out, unfortunately, as well. We're in depths of between, what, 15 and 21 foot?
Yeah.
Do you reckon the light levels make a massive difference in them depths?
I don't know.
Water's very clear,
yeah,
isn't
it's
it?
gin clear, very gin clear water, and they are definitely, they would be able to see clear enough down there, I think, in those sort of depths. You can see the trout activity even just there rolling
Yeah, it's
by your rods.
non-stop.
Yeah, it's non-stop trout activity around here, so they're feeding well and attacking the fry. And yeah, I do. I think bite time is first thing and last thing.
Yeah,
But
there's
Pike-
always a chance.
Pike can be sometimes ridiculously clever and ridiculously like zoned in on certain types of food. So if there's roach this big and they've bunched up because they're probably not going to survive the winter and those pike are on them, sometimes you can put anything in there, lure wise or bait wise, and unless it is that exact thing and has no hook in it and it's acting exactly the same as that bait fish, they just won't have it.
I remember seeing this on a place down in Essex, in
Yeah.
Basildon, called Aquatels many moons ago. They were pike busting all over the place, and they were on fry.
Yeah.
And everything I threw at them, I couldn't work out.
Yeah.
Just couldn't.
It's so
Like, they just
frustrating.
wouldn't have
Yeah.
it.
I've seen it loads and loads of times. However, I can also relate to the saying stupid pike, because I've also seen many times when pike have been ridiculously stupid and they've done stuff totally out of the norm. So you can never ever write off for sure. It's bright sunshine, it was ice cold last night, it was the first proper frost of the year, it's going to be absolutely rock hard.
We can
And then
always
all of a
find
sudden-
excuses, can't we?
Yeah, as anglers I think we go and then we make some excuses at the beginning of the trip, and if it turns out all right, we feel a bit better.
Well, you find a reason why you winkled it out.
Yeah, exactly.
Good
yeah.
angling
yeah.
normally.
Yeah, unlocking the code.
So,
yeah.
Chew,
Yeah.
this is my first ever time I've seen it. It's absolutely stunning, but you've been here
it's a
for
beauty.
probably, what, pushing 2 decades
Yeah,
now? 'Cause
yeah.
You grew up on the hills over
Yeah,
over
literally.
yonder.
My parents got a farm on top of the hill there, so this was always a water which my dad would have trout fished and then dragged me along as a kid and everything like that. I caught my first ever trout from Blagden.
Right.
On the fly. I don't even know what age I was, but I was ridiculously young. And then pike fishing was always a thing in my life. It was always a thing.
Here?
No, the Somerset levels.
Right.
So way before that. I'm older than I look. And so basically, I was always spinning for them, and I was always doing sink and draw wobbling baits, and like sprats from the supermarkets and everything.
Yeah.
So it was way before braid and everything like that. It was cart rods and mono and obviously trace, but then just free lining with some SSGs if needed, and going along the shallow drains and yeah, I got quite good at it, to be fair, and I would do it every single winter, and that was my really go-to was wobbling dead baits, and I used to catch a lot, and a big fish was, mid-double was a really big fish.
Yeah.
Sometimes you get the odd 20 sneak in there, but they were quite rare, but they were there back then. And then all of a sudden, obviously, this place opened. And it was really good for the guys who went out on the boat and everything like that, but I didn't know anything about boats. I wasn't a boat angler.
Yeah.
I was fishing at sea with my dad's boat and things like that, but not. I wasn't comfortable to be doing it. I was quite young as well. So I steered off that, but I used to just come up and do the bank fishing, keep myself to myself. And yeah, I slowly got to know the water.
So 2 decades ago,
Yeah.
was you using boats or was you casting?
No, casting. No
Right.
bait boats or anything like that. No, it was all casting. And to be fair, I was quite often just there in that swim down there where those 2 guys are. And I would quite often do it around this area. It was just an area that was really comfortable for me. I knew there was a nice gradual slope going down.
Yeah.
It was quite near where you get a lot of bait fish and things. I used to do that. And this was like mainly that bank there, Nunnery side. Those were the kind of 2 areas that I would fish back then. Me and a mate, back then it was so easy to get tickets, you would just come in and it was £10, £15 a day bank ticket.
Right.
There was rarely you would see anyone up here on the boats. A lot of them went out, but you'd come up, get your tickets, rock up at 9 o'clock.
What sort of size of fish were you fishing for back then?
They was
On Chew?
mid upper doubles, that sort of thing. The odd 20 mixed in, but yeah,
Big numbers?
yeah, it can be, but it's a trout reservoir. Trout reservoirs can seem easy fishing to an awful lot of people.
Yeah.
They aren't. They're full of trout. They're quite often full of bait fish. It's just a larder for the pike to eat, and then we're chucking out a bait which is quite alien to them. So yeah, okay, you get red letter days, and you get it when the conditions are right, and sometimes it can be insane. I can clearly remember fishing right where we are now on an open day about tell you what was it, Pike and Predator, the magazine it was. It's not in existence anymore, and I think Neville Ficklin was maybe the editor, or I'm pretty sure he was, something like that. And I used to read that avidly, you know. You'd look at all these big pike and all the different predators, read all the articles. It was great. And I turned out, it was an open day in October, and back then it was like Blue Planet here. So you would turn up and the perch were insane. They were everywhere, and the seagulls, everything would be attacking in this whole area out in front of us, past the cage, all around here. You'd get there and it would be alive, literally alive. Birds dive bombing, there's little silvers across the top, there's pike grabbing them, trout grabbing them. It was absolutely insane. And I got an open day here, me and my friend Anthony, and I think he was here, I was there, kind of Neville Fickley was down there, a few others down there, and then people fed around the lake. And I remember I didn't have a bait, but my mate did, and I just sent it out, dropped it. Just as I dropped it, I went to put the clip on and just pulled out my hands. No way. Wound down, had a pike. It was similar to the one we had earlier on, you know. So it's just a small pike to start the day. And then that day I had 19 pike and 420s in one day, and I didn't use the bait boat again. I just cast out,
Oh, really?
and yeah, they were just to the cast there, you know. And yeah, it was one of those red letter days where, compared to being on the Somerset levels and casting into 3, 4, 5 foot of water with a sprat and everything like that, that ignited the fire, you know. And I was like, okay, this water's different. And then you start to realise it's different from any other water in the country.
Yeah.
It doesn't peak and trough like most pike waters do. It sometimes has a lull, but it just comes back.
See that's exactly what I mean, looking at it from afar, that's the sort of impression that I've got, that it's produced big fish consistently over a number of years, whereas other venues have sort of gone, yes, we're here, and then all of a sudden it's just sort of disappeared after a few years. They just haven't taken the hammering. When did it start producing the really big ones, 30 pounders and upwards?
Probably like 15 years ago, something like that. Pike don't like pressure, like lots of fish, but here they just keep coming back. And whether it's because it's shallow, whether it's because of the coarse fish, whether it's because of the pH, whether it's because of whatever, it could be. I would imagine it's a small factor of everything has just made it the ultimate pike fishery in the country.
Yeah, and being here for 2 decades, you must have not only caught, but witnessed some incredible creatures and scenes as well.
Yeah, which probably the pinnacle was this February, watching Lloyd catch the British record, which people might think, it was always going to do a British record, and do you know what? I have never ever once, on my life, come here thinking that I was going to catch the British record, see the British record, or it would even do the British record, which might sound crazy because lots of my mates were like, oh, I bet you wish you'd caught it and everything like that. I didn't even think I would ever see it. I genuinely never thought this place would. It's done 44s, and it's been so close for so long.
How many different 40 pounders it's done?
Wow. Yeah, but the thing is, they come and go.
Yeah.
So, like the February when Lloyd has his this year, there could have been anywhere between kind of 4, 6, maybe even 7, something like that, I guess. But you're always guessing.
Really?
You're always guessing, yeah.
I mean, that's a big number of fish of that magnitude, though, isn't it?
Yeah, it's 1,200 acres, and it is a freak of a water.
Yeah.
But it's 1,200 acres, and
what about your PB on here?
Yeah, so 34.10.
You showed me it earlier.
Yeah,
I'm asking. We're definitely going to show you the picture.
Yeah.
It's an incredible
34.10. Yeah, and it was if it had length, then it would have just been something else. But it was a barrel. It was the fattest pike I'll ever catch in my life, I think, because you don't get them fatter than that. It was as fat as butter. It was just an absolute tank. And whereas Lloyd's fish was just the proportion of the whole thing, the actual frame of it. It was. It was insane, and he caught it just over there. And we were the only 2 people on the bank that day.
Madness.
And it was probably written in the stars for that guy to catch that fish. In all honesty,
name's on it. Your name's got to be.
Yeah, it wasn't meant for me or my mate that day. It was meant for him. And it was an incredible experience to see it. It still doesn't really feel like it happened. It's quite a surreal thing to see that, knowing that it stood for so long, that record. It just didn't feel like it would ever get beaten. Yet you look, the eel record went the same, the roach record went the same year. Like, you think it's changing times, we've got tuna here, there, and everywhere. That your rod tip, actually.
Yeah, it did bang.
Yeah, we have changing times. We have milder winters usually. We don't know what this winter will bring, but the weed doesn't die back like it used to.
Yeah.
There's lots and lots of reasons that fish are getting bigger in this country. There's lots and lots. So I should imagine over the next 5-10 years, if we don't get ridiculous oxygen crashes and things like that across the country, that there'll be even more records broken, I would think, and bigger fish.
And I know we've made every excuse under the sun. First real heavy frost, and it was this morning. My feet went above my head when I came out of the hotel room. I went up right up like that. Bright sunshine, really clear water. But to think that any minute now, or any minute today, one of the rods could bust off and it could be a fish of that magnitude.
Oh,
I mean, genuinely could.
Yeah, genuinely. I told you the story earlier that there were 7 anglers on this bank a few years back. And there wasn't a single take, not a single clip out for every angler from here all the way down to the woods. And I was in the woods, right on dusk, a clip out. I had a 32-pound pike, the only pike caught that day. Yeah.
That'll do.
One bite. You don't care one bite if it's a fish.
That 5-hour drive home gets a lot shorter if you catch a 30-pounder, mate.
Yeah, they're in here. That was a bit too fast for my liking, not moving and then ridiculously fast. Okay, now it's steadily going away.
Go on. Bang, bang, bang. Nod, nod, nod.
Well,
still on?
Yeah, we have a fish on of some kind. I think it might begin with T.
Will we need the net?
Dino's got, just got a little bit everywhere.
Oh, did you just catch up with it?
No, it's very, very shaky, which normally means it is a trout, so we'll have to just probably unhook it in the water and slip it back, as it's not the intended species. But you never know, sometimes it's just a very small pike, but the way it's moving so fast towards me.
Fast, mate, isn't it?
Yeah, and it went very, very fast on the take. What can you see?
Oh no,
that's it's trout. Yeah.
Yeah, trout. Solid one though.
Yeah, probably what one of these guys would love. There goes my bait. See if we can keep it at the bottom of the net.
There we go.
Yeah, there we go. Well, not the intended species.
Cool, that's got some depth to it, mate.
Thank you very much, Dean.
That'd be a nice chub, that would.
Hey?
That'd be a nice chub.
Yeah. I'm going to get the forceps and we'll, rather than bringing it up, we can deal with it there.
Solid fish, mate.
Chew Valley trout. Just moving a little bit, so get ready. Drag needs to be tighter. That's about right. Whittle down until you feel the resistance, and lean into it. Oh, there was something there and it was straight off.
Ah.
Yeah. Wouldn't like to say.
Mad, where you sit there for a couple of hours, absolutely nothing, and whether mine was a trout or not, you still get 2 lots of activity.
Yeah, strange, isn't it?
In a real short space of time. Mad, that, isn't it?
Yeah.
Happens too many times for there to be like just a coincidence.
Yeah, it's very true.
There's definitely something goes on underwater that we don't understand. It makes a difference.
Just triggers them all in. What we do is we get yours out first, and then I'll come back. That was quite loud, wasn't it? That was going as well, but well, at least we can get a take in the bright sunshine. This is a fly angler, isn't it? Oh, he's gonna have a few there, I reckon.
Yeah. God. That's a much steadier take, that one, isn't it?
That's steady away, I think. Okay, I'm gonna hit it.
The truth.
Very hard to tell.
Yeah.
Well, at least we're getting a few bites, mate.
Yeah, it's nice just to see it ticking off.
Yeah, it could be sat there and not having any clip outs on it. I mean, the trout anglers are having an amazing day sport along this bank. Yeah.
Got our right hand side, yeah,
Well,
smashing it.
If you were going to be trout fishing today, you'd be made up. Every time you look up, there's people netting trout left, right, and centre, especially down towards the woods.
Not me, I know our.
Look,
I
it's got a lovely
know I don't
fish on
cast a
the
fly
back
as good as these boys.
there. No, lovely fishing.
That's turning.
Should be a pike.
Yeah, I was going to say it's looking better and better. It didn't look pikey at the start with.
No, but it should be.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have a small pike. But a pike is a pike, Dean. We drop him, you can see he's on a flying treble. You see he's on the bottom treble.
Yeah, yeah.
So we're trying to lower it right to the bottom of the net.
Get right in there.
Yeah, that's
Here we
it.
go.
Well done, mate. Well, we'll go.
£1 a pound. Good job. Well done, mate.
Cheers, mate. I'll just unclip it and get down there, make sure it's safe. There we go. We're getting a few clip outs. Had a couple of trout and also a couple of pike. So they are feeding. The more bites you get means the closer you get to a Chew Valley monster. So I'll slip this one back. Hold on to its tail, there's never a rush. Literally, if you let them go too soon, the worst scenario is they come up out of reach and you can't do anything to revive them. So don't let them go until you think they're absolutely ready. Don't pull them backwards and forwards or anything like that, just hold them. You can see it's kicking already, look. So they don't take long, they come in quick, they're only little fish. And then, it wants to go, wants to go. Maybe I'll see it in a few years' time. Ooh. Went fast at the end.
So, the Reckle pike, you saw it, you witnessed it, you was there. Tell me the story.
Do you want the long version, the short version, or?
Well, chop it in the middle.
All right.
But don't miss out any of the funky details, because remember, it could still be out there and it could be roaring off on one of these rods
This is
later
very,
on.
very true. I got my optonics set. Optonics, there's no word. I got my alarm
Show
set.
your age.
I am very, very loud, so I'll probably have a heart attack before I get to the rods anyway. But, yeah, I think it's a bit crazy that, because I've come here for years and I genuinely would never believe that there would be a record out of this place, because it's been so close so many times.
What was it, up until the record fish,
Yeah.
what was the biggest fish?
It
that
was 44 odd, which was caught from this same bank
Right,
the
okay.
year before by somebody called Nick, who's a really nice chap. I've been with on Facebook actually, and he's does all chimney sweeping and everything like that.
Yeah.
He still fishes here now. He was here last week, and he held the lake record right where we are now,
Right.
maybe a little bit further along. But so we're in the right area.
Yeah.
But yeah, he had it, but it didn't last. It didn't last a year, because obviously then Lloyd's come along. I don't believe it was the same fish. I haven't heard that fish has even been matched up.
Right.
It seems like it may have just popped up, which happens in all species, doesn't it? All of a sudden, just a freak.
But when you
pops up.
say about, I mean, I know you can get boats on here, but when you say about the volume of bank that is unfishable from the bank,
Oh yeah, loads.
then
yeah,
it doesn't surprise me that there is something out there
Yeah.
on a reservoir that's got a track record of producing so many 20s and 30s.
Yeah.
There's got to be a shooter that's just not
Yeah.
been,
Yeah,
not had a
yeah,
set of
yeah.
books in it for a
Yeah.
decade.
And in my mind, I always think fish and animals, they learn from association. So if, for example, you know, on my parents' farm, they feed maybe alpacas or sheep or something like that in the same corner every morning, very, very quickly they're running to that corner, they're waiting to that corner, they're doing that, you know. So in my mind, if you've got a pike and he's regularly picking up baits during the day and then comes out for a photo and away, but doesn't when it picks up trout, and picks up other pike and things
Yeah,
like this.
yeah.
Association, you're bound to get a few which just switch over a bit, you know, whether they go nocturnal feeders or only trout for a while or whatever. But I think there's so many areas where they can just because we can't catch them doesn't mean they're not there, does it? You know?
No, exactly.
So you're pretty blinkered mind if you say no, they're not there. No one would have catched them.
But
they
you
would
see
have
it
come
with
out
loads
that
of
year.
other species as well. Like you see it on carp venues,
Yeah,
you know,
gotta
and you
go
can
for years.
Exactly,
Yeah.
and like all of a sudden
yeah.
the fish will appear and it hadn't been caught for 5
No,
years, and they're a lot smaller than these.
Yeah, loads smaller. In fact, it notoriously happens on the smallest of waters.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, 100%. So yeah, but in my mind, for some reason, I thought the ceiling, because you do get a ceiling in a lot of species, and it had been so long, I thought it was around 44. You know, I thought it was around 44. It might do 45ish, and but yeah, that morning, no, I mean. We came here just to fish chew like we had done for years, a friend of mine, and there was only 4 of us on this bank, and they'd slept in their van down at the entrance where you're allowed to, and because they'd come from Manchester, and obviously we were up the road, so we just got here an hour before, really, half an hour before. We were going to go there, we discussed it the night before. Would we have caught it? Who knows, it's fishing, probably not. So we went down into the woods, and then it must have been within 45 minutes, literally. It was still dusk, you know, and we had actually, well, not we, I didn't have anything, but my mate had a low 20, so it looked like it was going to be a good day. Conditions were perfect, and Nick, I think it is, Lloyd's friend, came running down through the wood shouting, it's 48, it's 48, it's 48.
Panic.
Yeah, well, yeah, but I didn't actually, nothing twigged. It was early, it was drizzling with rain. I just got the rods out, I just got all my gear sat, I'm under the brolly, I'm just, nothing really twigged. And then I was like, what? And he said, Pike, we need your scales as well, we want to test the scales. I was like, oh, crikey. And I knew there was a handful of 40s knocking around then, so I actually thought they just haven't zeroed the sling, because, you know, I've been involved with fisheries and fish my whole entire life, and it is a common mistake, especially if you get a bit giddy. If you haven't seen a big fish for a long time, you can get very giddy and be like, you know, but if you fish a lot, you just go through the same procedures and do the same things every time. And I just thought, they haven't zeroed it, but you know, I'll reel my rods in and I'll go up, because I definitely want to help the guys and at least maybe take them a great picture or something. Yeah. So I reeled in, shot up there. I looked into the sack, because Lloyd was stood in chest waders just up here out into the water. And I looked in, I said, do you mind if I have a quick look before we go any further? Just, you know, and I looked and I just saw the biggest pike I've ever seen in my life. Yeah, and I've seen a lot of big pike over the years, especially fishing this so much. Yeah. And it was colossal. It had the double ridge back on it, and it was just a breeze block of a pike. And yeah, without doubt, I knew it was a really good fish, and well over 40 from what it looked like. Yeah. And instantly then, knowing the world we live in, I knew that unless we get somebody else who works here at this venue, there's always going to be doubt cast. Yeah. And to be fair, if I onlooked and there wasn't somebody from the venue there to witness it, who was you know, we didn't know those 2 guys from Adam, you know, but having that 3 people, then I think, you know, that's good, you know, good to verify anything. So yeah, I ran nearly as quick as you that day, actually. Yeah. And I got the bailiff, got the head bailiff, and let the fishery manager know as well. I gave him a quick call and a message to tell him what potentially was happening. And Pete came down, and the bailiff, and then we made sure everything was absolutely meticulous. So we had the mats ready, we'd zeroed, we had a set of Reuben Heatons, and we had my digitals. By chance, I regularly test my digitals in my fishing shed with like a 1 ounce and a pound weight and things like that. I just have them on the shelf, and I randomly do it, not for any other reason, that I just like to know if they ever go out. And I'd randomly done it the day before. So in my mind, I thought, I know these scales are good. And then his scales, you know, Reuben's, you would think would be good as well. So I thought, yeah, we're going to get a good accuracy on this. We videoed everything. We had my mate, Johnny Panto, who's a professional photographer, so you couldn't have asked for anyone better for the pictures.
Situation. Yeah, it was for
the guy. It was a perfect storm for him. And we lifted 3 times. We checked it. I didn't read. I had 4 other people in front of the scales. I was lifting it, so there was 2 of us of each side to keep it nice and steady. Yeah. And it went up there, and I was like, oh my God. I suddenly dawned on me then, like, wow, I thought it was just going to be a big pike. I didn't realise it was going to be a British record. You know?
The biggest pike the country's ever seen.
Yeah, didn't even sink in, And then a lot of the kind of the old timers, I suppose, who fished it from year dot, Carl Garrett and a few others, they kind of came over. They knew what was unraveling on the banks, and they were all queuing up to get the boats. So they all came across here, and there's probably quite an iconic photo of us all stood around there with Lloyd. Obviously, fish gone back strong and everything like that. But we all stood around there, and Lloyd's in the middle, and yeah. Who knows what's going to happen, but I mean, that's quite a historic photo and an event to unfold, and it was amazing.
What an amazing atmosphere.
It was amazing.
As well, as the sun comes up.
It was unbelievable, and I've got videos on my phone at home. I've actually kind of put it to one side of the moment Lloyd came back down. He reeled in his rods, and he came back down to see my mate in the woods. I was the next person to him in the woods, and he came down. And yeah, we picked him up, we gave him the bumps, and it was cheering, and yeah, it was quite a surreal moment, really. That long-standing record just suddenly got beaten, and you just happened by chance to see it. And I'm never going to see anything like that again. Okay, there's always a chance, but it's you know, it's 1 in a million, really. And so yeah, it was one hell of a day. And Lloyd, you know, it couldn't have happened to a nicer chap. He's one of the nicest people you ever meet. And he's never even fished it. He's never fished here before, ever. It was his first time on here.
Left hand rod.
I've got to look at that.
That's just pulled out.
Well.
Oh, mate, that would be such a phenomenal event if you talked that up.
This is probably just what happened to Lloyd that day. But when Lloyd connected to a fish,
it felt like he'd pulled the plug out of the earth.
It pulled back a bit, yeah.
He's in. He's in. He's in. He's in.
Well, as if by magic.
I'm going to start talking about the lottery now.
Well, you usually get a bite when you just go up a little bit more to avoid everyone. You usually get a bite when you're talking about fishing or cooking.
Two things I love.
Fishing.
Got a little bit more weight to it.
Talking about fishing, yeah.
That's a bit steadier, isn't it?
Yeah.
Less head shakes.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, that's how you want it. So yeah, I mean, that pretty much wrapped up that story anyway, basically.
Yeah.
It is, yeah, a hell of an occasion. I got the scales, I had to take them to the weights and measures. Oh, the anxiety I have with those scales.
I can imagine.
I literally, you know, I didn't kind of realise the importance of it. And then obviously I chatted to Lloyd a lot over the coming days, because we were both just like, what happened that day? And then the scales were just the pivotal part of that record. And I went out to the weights and measures over in Taunton. And I tell you what, I was just like, what if my scales are wrong or they're misreading, you know, 3 or 4 ounces over every like 4 or 5 pound or something. So I was like, oh my God. And I went out there, and in fact, I've got it all on video, but the guy in the weights and measures, I videoed him doing all the testing of my scales and everything like that. And he said, if anything, he gets more problems with spring scales than he does with digital.
Right. Okay.
And he does all the official club water scales and everything like that. And then he said, my digital scales, which he's got on video, were the most accurate digitals he's ever tested.
Oh, that's good. That's nice.
Yeah.
I just see that get a little bit heavier.
So yeah, that was a, the relief I felt then. That was me done. I wouldn't even, you know, all I cared about it, I hadn't messed up the British record and ruined what was potentially, you know, it was a life-changing experience for Lloyd. And for me, I just got my scales and made sure it was all done accurately.
Yeah,
but
mega.
Yeah, it was what a day. But like I say, it's Lloyd's day.
How's this one feeling?
It's
now?
good fish, this, yeah, very good. Yeah, very
That's what
good.
I'm thinking.
Yeah.
You're still telling the story, and I'm watching that spool empty, and I'm thinking, come on, this could be one of them.
Yeah, it's a good
Right.
fish. You might have to get those long legs going, I reckon, Dino, and get wading.
Don't you worry, sir. If it comes up and it's anywhere near as big as a 40-pounder, I'll go up to whatever I need to.
I talked it onto the line. There it is.
There it is.
That's a nice chunky pike. That's what we want.
There's no ledge here, so you've got...
There we go.
First time.
There
Straight
we go.
to bottom.
When they're that size, they always give a good old scrap, you know.
Beautiful.
Always good.
Yes, it's thick, isn't it? Yeah.
Proper trout reservoir pike, that one. Lovely.
Well done, mate.
Thank you very much. Cheers,
good lad. Well
lovely.
done. Number 3.
Cheers, mate.
Top man.
I'll just get everything sorted there, unhook it, connect everything, make sure it's nice and safe, and then we can have a quick look at it on the map.
What a beautiful fish. Except healthy fish. Look, it's a really small head compared to the body.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a beautiful fish, that one.
Stunning fish, mate. Look at that.
Yeah, beautiful.
It's the next generation of 30-pounders, isn't it?
Oh yeah, without a doubt, yeah. Once they get to this size, like I say, they can put 5 to 9 pound in weight a year.
Really?
And they can really get going, yeah.
So clean, mate.
Yeah,
It's such
crisp.
a clean fish. Yeah, beautiful.
Like a new penny.
Fought really hard.
Yeah, really hard, yeah,
Yeah,
really
nice.
powerful. At this size, they really do fight, they really do. In the background, there's people playing trout left, right, and centre.
Look at the sheen just
Beautiful,
here. Beautiful,
aren't
isn't
they?
it?
Yeah, the marking's incredible. Yeah,
Nice one.
beautiful fish.
Number 3.
Yeah, let's get this one back. So I've just put that the bait boat's out there, you can see it, and as I was bringing it back, it clipped out. So I'm going to wind down and then hit into that and see what we've got. Okay. It's a fish and it's on, so that's a good start. Bait boat's floating around out there. That's a pretty quick bite.
There you go. It's amazing, isn't it? I'm good on Gran Turismo, I'm crap with bait boats.
Gran Turismo.
What's that all about?
Don't know, they're tricky beast bait boats, to be honest. So, looks like another small fish,
Right.
but it's a fish.
Oh, multitasking Macey. Net in one
Hopefully.
hand, controller in another.
Not net you on that one.
There we go.
Okay, where's that top treble? Can you see that top treble?
Cannot.
I think it's really flying, yeah.
Yeah,
top
it's
treble.
just above it.
So
Try
let's
and
get
get
it
it right,
right
at the
to the
bottom.
bottom of that net.
Right in the bottom.
Yeah.
There we go.
Okay, perfect. Nice
Beauty
one, mate.
tash.
Right. If I take
That's
that
it.
controller, we'll leave the boat and I'll just unhook it. We'll slip it back quick and get the rod back out quick.
Going off, mate.
I know.
It's all going
And
off.
when it is, you've got to get those baits out super, super fast. Because the more pike you go through, the more chance you've got of a bigger
Even
one.
this one's got a tiny little head on it, but a big old fat belly for a small one.
So,
Right, Ben.
we got, this isn't actually my bait boat, it's a mate of mine, Nathan's, because I had some technical issues. We'll talk about bait boats in a bit.
Thank you, Nathan.
But, thanks Nathan, all the best. Still could have got it ready a bit quicker and got my one fixed, but there we go. So, so what we've got here is my deeper, and I've kind of bodged it onto the side of this bait boat.
Yeah.
But, they are very accurate deepers actually,
Yeah.
and they are good. And you can see we're slowly dropping away there, and there's so many trout getting caught to your right hand side.
Yeah.
And you've got a marginal shelf and a nice drop off here. What we're trying to do is bring one fairly short.
Thing is, when we took the rods out earlier,
Yeah.
most reservoirs are really like barren and featureless,
yeah.
but I don't know what distance it was, but it was sort of like around the 70, 80 yards,
yeah,
but there was
yeah.
there was steps.
It's like that. It's probably, it could even be broken. This is what we've got here. We've got
Yeah.
this really kind of quite steep gradual slope.
Right.
And you can see how out far we are. We're about aligned with the jetty there. You've got that 12, 13 foot mark, which is a lovely depth, which they'll happily feed and cruise along. So we're just getting a bit accurate with it without going too far out.
Like you said, with all these trout, like boshing, that sort of
Yeah, they're close.
between 10 and 30 yards.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think the pike right now will be in the super shallow water where the trout are, but they can't
They'll
be
be
far
sat back
behind.
behind.
Yeah,
won't they?
exactly that.
Yeah.
So where all the other 3 rods are in 21 foot, this
Yeah.
one
Yeah.
we're going to aim for.
See,
I mean, we're in 17
we're
foot at
17
the
now, but
moment.
look, you can see he's just starting to plateau out
Yeah,
there.
nice.
Look, and we go past that plateau to allow for the drop back, so it drops right
Yeah.
on that ridge. See that there?
Yeah, beautiful.
That's you can see the slope there, and then
Yeah,
it
that's
just stops.
exactly
so
where
if
I
you
put-
tighten up, yeah,
Yeah, we're tight.
yeah,
Yeah, we're dropping.
And you're dropping down, and you should
We're
be able to
dropping.
feel it. It's really important when you drop on a bait boat as well, just like carp fishing
Donk.
on braid.
There we go.
You'll feel that donk, and you can
Yeah,
see whether
lovely.
it's solid, whether it's silty, whether it's sand. You might need to pop up your bait, stand them on the tails or whatever, but you get a real good feel for what's going on.
Nice. And we've
Yeah.
put a couple of little chops in there as well.
Yeah, a couple of little bits of chop fish there.
Yeah.
Some people do, some people don't. It's got different kind of people think different things. If a trout comes along, hopefully he picks up a bit of chop and he carries on going rather
Yeah.
than just destroying your bait. And if you're regularly, accurately dropping into the same area like I am with my left hand rod,
Yep.
obviously slowly over time you're building a nice little scent trail there,
Yeah.
and you know there's all things going into the party there, picking up bits of it. So I don't do it all the time, just sometimes. What's happening there, do you know?
Not a lot, mate.
Oh.
Not a lot.
Well, we've had plenty of clip outs and a few fish, and the chap just down from you in the next peg has just had a 21.
Yeah, look lovely.
Yeah, and the bloke who is in the next swim up from me has had a 30. So I would say we're bang smack in the middle of big fish.
Yep, I've had this many times before when people have said, no, this area don't do fish, but that
Yeah.
one does and that one does.
Yeah, yeah.
And you
yeah.
can sit in the middle of them, but apparently it doesn't do them. But
Mm.
you know as well as I do, mate, on venues like this, they can be anywhere.
Oh yeah, 100%, yeah. Just need a
Yeah.
bit of lady luck.
I think this one that we repositioned on that ledge
Yeah,
has definitely had some trouty
I
action.
do. I think it's been trouty. Yeah.
Yes, agreed.
Yeah. We put it where we knew the action and the trout were, especially with all the fly anglers to your right playing trout, but it'd be nice if it sat and it went with a pike now rather than constant trout clip outs, wouldn't it?
Right then, one of the reasons why I like coming out with people that do types of fishing a lot more regularly than I do is that I either learn something new or it confirms that what I normally do is there or thereabouts.
Yeah, sure.
And from what I gather when I have been pike fishing is that it isn't very riggy. So what do you use? As a general rule of thumb for this type of fishing, because clearly it can vary from situation to
Yeah.
situation and venue to venue. But for what we're faced with here, relatively flat ground, not much in the way of weed or snags, when you're presenting essentially a dead bait on the deck.
There are quite a lot more snags than people think in here because it's a flooded valley.
Right.
So in fact, over on the far side there, they cut down loads of trees before they did it. You've got a lot of tree stumps over that side. There is
Yeah.
more than you think. So the tackle has to be like beyond robust.
Right.
If you can't get your tackle when it snags up on the way in, maybe because you're bringing it in and the lead drops down and the trebles go behind an old tree stump, or it go because you're fishing off the slope and it comes up a slope, goes behind a snag or something like that. So if you cannot hold that, if you're going to go for a break and you walk straight back fast, it's not the way to do it because you just put so much instant strain on your tackle. Whereas you've got to give a hook and your terminal gear a chance to bend out. So the tackle I use, I know that if I do snag up, I can just gently get the pressure and I walk and I stop, and then I walk back, might give it total slack just to see if it was enough to drop it behind whatever it was, and I walk back and I hold it and I hold it and I hold it, and I absolutely know that with the tackle I've got there, I will bend the trebles, I can break through that run ring, I always get my terminal tackle back, because if I don't, it's a rig, a live baited rig potentially out in a reservoir, which no one wants anything like that to happen. So yeah, tackle does have to be super strong, so there is no finesse.
Right. So the braid that you're using is?
I'm using, at the moment I've got 55 pound on there. We use 40 £40 is the limit for this reservoir,
Right,
which is what you've got.
Yeah,
I've got £55 of the Fox Horizon braid on there, but also the new 60 that we do as well is just as good, probably thicker, more rugged.
Yeah.
But yeah, any good quality braid of 50, £60 is ideal, and then 40 is a minimum on here.
Yeah. The one thing that you do something that I haven't done, and I can't work out why I haven't, because in every other form of predator or lure fishing that I do, you pretty much put a fluorocarbon leader on. You put 5, 6, 7 foot of fluorocarbon leader tied to your braid down to your lead and your run ring. Why is that? I mean, I'll do it from now on. Now I've seen it in practice, I'm like, oh, why have I never done it? I don't know whether it's cost me fish or not, but seeing it in real life, I can't work out how that is not beneficial to like having the braid straight through. Like, I just think that's much more agricultural.
Yeah, it's so there's a few things which I think off pro, and I can't really think of any negatives.
No, I can't think of a con.
So you know, and for a pro, as long as you keep it clean, make sure that fluorocarbon's clean. Like, you know, when you're carp fishing, lines are left on the bottom for a long time, they pick up crap, don't they, you know? And then sooner or later that fluorocarbon isn't as clear as it is. So as long as you make sure they're clean before each session, make sure it's out there. And then if you just ran it across the bottom of the water out here, you'll see it's invisible, like it's gone. So rather than having that bowstring type braid of 40, 50, 60 pound going out there, you've just got that.
Like a sore thumb. In any coloured water.
Massively. And so you've got that there as well. Potentially when you're using bait boats, if you are using them, you can sometimes get that braid wrapped up into the prop if you do a circle on yourself or anything like that. When you've got 6, 8 foot of 180, 100 pound fluorocarbon there, it's not getting sucked up in those props, you know, so it keeps you safe that way. When you come to getting in close and you might have jacks or something like that, if you're going to hold on the line, because sometimes it's a lot easier to work like that. You're not holding braid, which is like a cheese wire. You've just got that really thick, you know, fluorocarbon there, so it's safer. And also, if a fish was to roll, okay, you've got the wire, but you have got that higher up if you were going to get a potential bite off or something like that, especially if you had chopped fish out there, you got 80 to 100 pound fluorocarbon as well, rather than just braid on the bottom as well. So there's a...
So you're using it as an up trace as well as an actual sort of trace?
Yeah, there is. But if I was paternostering a dead bait or something like that, the up trace I would use would definitely be wire, you know. But the other principles and the reasons is why I would have it on my dead bait rod. So I think they're probably small percentages, but every little percentage, it all adds up, doesn't it? You know, the sharpness of your hooks, the size of your hooks, how you set your bobbins and the indicators, how much pressure they take to release so you don't get the drop runs, positioning the hooks on the dead baits. There's lots of like 1 or 2%. When you put them all together, it might just be 10, 20% that day, but that might be the difference between bites and no bites. You know?
And if you're fishing for virgin fish, it won't make much of a difference. But here, when they're pressured, not, I wouldn't say day in, day out. Well, it isn't day in, day out, but certainly these fish know that they're being angled for when they're being angled for. Once you get down to the leader, what, are you a boom guy? Are you a straight sort of running?
Straight to our new run rings. I've been testing for a few years anyway, and they are
by
brilliant.
the way, mega.
They are.
Yeah, they're mega.
So you've got a stainless steel insert in them.
Yeah,
so
that's
old
epic.
run rings where they're just plastic, the braid can cut into it, no problem at all. And then you get it and it cuts in, and then that's rough and it's braid and it's continuous and it's chaffing the braid, and it's no good. So we've got the stainless steel inserts, and then you can push the lead in, push the nugget in, and then you've basically got something where your lead will stay on. You know, I've had a few fish a day, I've not dropped a single lead, but if that lead was to drop or catch behind anything, or there was a weed bed and a fish ploughed into it and I had to put a bit of decent pressure, that lead's gone, and straight away the fish is up and I'm not towing its nose down with a big 4 or 5 ounce lead. So they're really good run rings, so I would go for them after that. Down to the buffer bead. Then I got the trace wire, which is £40.
Right, so the only difference really in our rigs right now is that you tie your own traces. I tend to use the out of the packet ready-mades, and the only difference is that I've seen is yours are slightly longer. Why?
They are slightly longer. They're still not long enough that, because you can't have too long a trace, because if you go to a ridiculous amount, when we drop that bait or when we cast out that bait, we always feel it down for a drop, whether you cast it or whether it's out of a bait boat. You can tell what it lands on, you can tell how it is. So we know that bait is buffered straight up to the lead, and
Yep.
it's all there and it's all tight and it's basically set. So if something picks up that bait, it straight away goes. However, it's still got a bit of play.
Yeah.
So you don't want to go too long, because if you go too long, then that pike can pick up that bait, have a fair bit of movement, swallow that bait, and you won't know anything about it. If you're just going to mess around with traces this long, they're way too long. So yeah, you're looking about 18 inches, something like that. That sort of length is 18, 20 inches is about right. Yeah.
So simple. I
It's
mean,
very
aside from,
simple. Yeah,
so it's really simple stuff. Would you change it varying, like depending on the venue, or would it be?
What, that system for ledgering?
Yeah.
No.
Because I've always used that, and I've always felt like I was doing it really like barbaric and really agricultural, which is really simple. But it's always kind of worked, and it's nice to see on a venue like this of a guy that's been doing it for a couple of decades using, like, up to date like products that probably, like you said, the insert in the run ring makes a huge difference, because as soon as that braid starts cutting into the old plastic ones, often I think if the pike goes left or right, the lead starts bouncing and then they'll end up dropping the bait. But with these, heavy lead now to the deck, that's super smooth running through. You can't really make it any better.
No, exactly right. I mean, there's things where you can get down to the bait and things where you can potentially put some air or some foam into the baits, and you can make them a little bit wafting. And a friend of mine's done a lot of underwater work with cameras with pike, and you know, very, very rarely does a pike just come over, scoop it up and carry on going. They come, they look, they examine, they might go away 20 minutes, they come in again, sometimes they don't, they blow on them, they do all types of things. So yeah, you can add a bit of a carpy element with regards to making them a little bit lighter or a little bit more or less anchored, so that they can potentially pick them up. Obviously you get a little bit of chopped fish round, might bring some more scenting and things, but ultimately you're flicking a dead fish out on tackle, which is absolutely bib and braces, and you're dead baiting for them, you know. So yeah. So it's last knockings, and this is steadily just clipped out and it's going away. Just check that drag. Is it still going? Right, we're going to reel down. Well, there's a fish on that. It's very, very shaky. I don't think it's the big one we were after. However, there's very little time left, and it just goes to show that it's been several hours now and I haven't had any action on my rods, and it is just worth waiting.
Well, 25 minutes still, mate.
25 minutes to go.
Still 25 minutes to go. A lot happens in 25 minutes. Tell you what, this got ice all over it already.
It's chilling right off. But, yeah, that just goes to show. Stick it out till the bitter end, even when everything's freezing up and it's getting freezing cold. Never give up. Because this could have easily have been a monster. You just can't always choose what's going to pick up your bait. There was us just reminiscing about the good old sea fishing days.
Yeah, man. You always get the bite when you completely forget about it, don't you? Out
and
the
then
blue.
all of
Always
a sudden
happens
you go
straight out the blue.
into autopilot, like, whoa, I've got rods out. Right, here we go. There we go. Let's see what we got.
Oh dear, that step's a bit small here, mate, for my feet. Literally nearly stepped straight into the res. God, yeah, that's a long way down. There we go. Yeah, Nice one, Ben.
Lovely jubbly.
Well done, mate.
Lovely jubbly. Well, here's a fish.
They all count.
They do, mate.
And like you said, any one of them could have been 20 or 30
Yeah.
pound. Lovely markings.
Yeah.
They're such pristine fish in here.
Yeah, they're beautifully, yeah. They're like new pennies, all of them. They're lovely,
Good,
lovely
solid,
fish.
Good solid fish, that.
Right, we'll take care of her now, have a quick look at her, and that is a lovely end to the day. Let me go and have a forceps.
Oh, there's no floor there.
Oh,
Well, Ben, that is a cracking end to the day, mate. Look at the fatness of that. Epic condition fish. Beautiful colours as well. And a great day on Chew. Thanks for having us. Thanks for showing us all the bits and bobs as well. And actually giving me more confidence to come to a venue of this sort of size and actually having a go.
you're welcome. It's been great. Great to see you. Great, thanks for coming down. Lovely to finish on a fish as well.
Yeah.
And I don't doubt that we will fish together again.
Oh, 100%.
And I've got to say something to you.
Go on.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you too. And all of you guys. Drink, eat, and enjoy the festive holidays.
Be merry, be friendly, stay happy, and get out on the bank between Christmas and New Year. You never know what you might get.
Lovely.
Slip this one back.